All right, so I've heard some good things from you all about the structure of magic. I want to do a real short video today, short episode, nice and crunchy tip for you from this book, the chapter called The Sorcerer's Apprentice, about the word no. It's about the therapeutic double bind technique. Okay, so we're just going to pick up right in the middle of the action. Try to follow me here. I think you can do it. What the therapist did was to tell the client to go around the room to each of the people in the group therapy session and say no about something to each. The client reacted strongly, refusing to perform the task, making further statements such as, "No, it's impossible for me to say no to people. You can't expect me to do it just because you asked me to." The client continued in this way for several minutes, refusing to carry out the task set for her by the therapist, until the therapist pointed out that she had in fact been saying no to the therapist during this time. The therapist then pointed out that he had not been hurt and certainly had not died, contrary to the generalization. The generalization of this person was, reading a page earlier, "I can't say no to anyone because I can't hurt anyone's feelings." Consider the position in which the therapist placed the client by demanding that she say no to the members of the group. The client has stated her generalization, "I can't say no to anyone." The therapist structured a therapeutic double bind with the demand that the patient say no to each of the people in this group. Notice the choices available to the client. She may say no to each member of the group or say no to the therapist. Whichever choice the client makes, she generates an experience which contradicts her original generalization. This experience serves the client as a reference structure to guide her in representing her world in richer terms. Another one is, "I can't try anything new because I might fail." Notice the structure of the situation created by this demand by the therapist of the client, this particular client. The client has generalized, "I can't fail at anything new." Then the therapist structures a double bind with the contract. Each day, between this session and the next, you will try something new and fail at it. The goal is to fail. You see that, right? Notice the choices available to the client. A, she can try something new each day between this session and the next and fail at it, thus fulfilling the contract, or she can fail to fulfill the contract. Itself a new experience. Whichever situation occurs, the client will have an experience which will contradict her generalization and give her a reference structure which increases the amount of her choices available in the world as represented in her model. You see what I'm getting at, right? Give people, as these people say, what do they say? Representing her world in richer terms. Representing her world in richer terms. That's great. We don't exist in reality. We exist within the collective representation of our reality. Our senses don't sense. Our eyes don't see. Our ears don't hear. They perceive, given our biological apparatus. There was a profound comment the other day that I want to read to you. It was on the Why Gen Z is Becoming Religious video at Skyline Fever. I like the biologically correct argument for religion, religious participation, religious experiences. I often argue that some people are just biologically predisposed to atheism and to not having children, both of them. Paul Vanderklay says something similar, as he likes the neurology book Master and His Emissary. Paul Vanderklay argues that the natural atheist thinks out of the left hemisphere. That hemisphere is more focused on cause and effect and math. It does not get religious experience. It only gets literal truth and not metaphorical truth. I argue that such people have low birth rates in industrialized economies because they ask what the ROI on having children is and see zero. I argue that the one who learns how to flip the biological switch can get religious belief to the masses. Working on it. Now, what do these two have in common? Experiencing both left and right provides a richer experience. I have been participating in religion again. It has enriched my life significantly. Am I over there saying everything has to be literal and literally true? Like, no, I'm doing the religion. I'm practicing. I'm not trying to convince myself. A man named Brett Alder has described the difference between being convinced and being converted. Convinced is left brain. Converted is right brain. So when I go to church and do these activities, I'm doing it. I'm not, when I pray, for example, I'm not, okay, it has to be convince myself and the evidence and the case for Christ and all. No, that's not it. I think of the meme, the bell curve meme that you've probably seen, where there's the low IQ silly man on the far left, and then on the far right is the enlightened one. In the middle is the whining midwit. Low IQ says there was a virgin birth. Midwit says, no, it's literally impossible to biologically have a virgin, meet a virgin after birth. That's not possible unless you have reconstructive surgery, blah, 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 blah. No, Bible is false. High IQ says, remember, low IQ, there was a virgin birth. This is in the Christian tradition. Low IQ says there was a virgin birth. Midwit's too smart for that. The high IQ says, why was there a virgin birth? And that is the structure of magic. It's not about the answer, it's about the question. This is, again, a Michael Gimmerianism. Follow him on X. It's not how we perceive reality best through getting answers. It's about the question. The question unlocks truth. The question unlocks magic. The question unlocks richer experiences for all of us. And I think you could do it. This is a short experience for today, but the way for you to live a richer life, a happier, more successful, is to do things that you convinced yourself that you can't do. By putting yourself in a position where you're in a double bind. I can't say no to someone. So put yourself in a position where you're made to say no. And regardless of your choice, you will find yourself saying no, and that's no longer your reality. Behavior begets identity. We are what we do. Someone doesn't become a killer until they kill. You are what you do. And so if you want to be something different, well, do something different, even if you don't feel like it. I didn't believe any of this stuff necessarily, or think it is literally true. And so I started practicing Christianity. It doesn't matter. That's not why it's there. Left brain, right brain. Tying all these things together. It's a patchwork quilt. Today's episode, shorter, but there's a lot to think about. This is a dense 8 minutes. See you next time.